Hello and welcome back to the channel. Right, today I have a very odd machine for you. I have this, which, and I'm only going to try and pronounce this once, Neubaufahrzeug. Unfortunately it doesn't have a name like Panther or Tiger or anything nice and simple like that, and my understanding is that this means new construction vehicle in German, which was obviously an alias that it had while it was in development. But it's an interwar tank, and they're always a little peculiar. So, usual story. 60-second speed build, some pics, and then we'll get to the review. Let's crack on and build. Welcome back. Right, first of all, the instructions. They are okay, and the reason why they're just okay is that the individual phases themselves are fine. The trouble is that sometimes I feel that they're out of order. So what I mean by that is that you will do, say, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and then you get to phase 4 and you build something and you realise, actually, I've got to, where it fits, I've got to take apart what I've done in phase 3 and phase 2, put that in, put back phase 2, put back phase 3, and then move on. And that happens a few times in this. So just something to watch out for a little bit. Now, nothing is missing. There's no warpage, no discoloration, and everything fitted together well. So, this new construction vehicle, as I'm not even going to attempt to butcher the German again, it's odd. But then, so many of the interwar vehicles, tanks particularly, but also to a degree planes and ships, were very odd, where they were, let's say, exploring options on different things. So the fact that you have multiple turrets on this, you have 2 turrets with what would have been a 37mm autocannon, or not necessarily autocannon, but smaller cannon, front and rear. You've got a 75mm gun in there, which one of these two I'm not entirely sure, and also another 37mm autocannon there, and what would have been a MG34 in there as well, and possibly I believe that they might have had an MG34 on the top. And that's actually one of the problems with reviewing this, is that there is very little source material to go by. So as far as I can tell from the sort of 3 or 4 surviving pictures of this thing, one of which is being repaired with the turret off in a factory, so it doesn't give you a great deal of information, but this does seem to be a fairly accurate example of this particular tank. There's a reasonable amount of detail on here. The stickers actually are relatively subtle and enhance rather than try and take over, which is quite nice. Not entirely sure why we have an elephant's head on the front. No real idea on that one. But this is it's quite a peculiar model of a very peculiar tank. One thing that's quite nice is it's not really fragile at all, which is always good to see. Although there are a few bits that are questionable. So for instance, and I don't know what these are supposed to be called, but I'm going with a running board. So these are just held on by that little hinge in there. Pop that down. So they could ping off quite easily, unfortunately. But that's about it as far as fragility is concerned. I do like the way that overall it is constructed. The where you've got some angles, like on the lower glacis here and the upper part, and at the back, and it is quite solid, which is really quite nice. In fact, internally this is quite odd because there's no engine, there's no detail inside at all, no engine, no fighting compartment that you fit out or anything like that. It is mostly solid inside. Not totally, but mostly, which is quite an unusual way of doing it. And it does make the tank, considering it's a relatively small piece, it is actually quite weighty. But it does mean it's solid and it's not going to fall apart in your hands. Now, this was 1661, so 670 odd pieces. It's just outside the pocket money sort of range where you would expect the quality to start lifting a little bit. And I would say this just about ticks those boxes. I don't think it would take that much more for it to be very good. But again, that comes back to the source material, of which there is very little. And one thing I'd like to do is I'd like to applaud Wange for doing a really, really obscure tank. I mean, it's all very well and good doing your standard World War II stuff. Your Tigers, your Panthers, your Shermans, your T-34s, all that type of stuff. It's something else to do something that is really very, very obscure. I mean, only 5 of these were ever made. 2 of them were very much prototypes in mild steel. The other 3 did actually have some armour, and this thing did. Now, when I say fight, I'm stretching it there, and that information I'm sure I've already put in the historical detail in the speed build. But it is a real tank. It is extremely obscure. Until I started researching this, to be honest with you, I thought this was a made-up tank that you sometimes get particularly from the Chinese manufacturers. They made-up tanks, made-up ships, and all that sort of type of stuff. But it is a genuinely real tank, and because of its obscurity, congratulations to Wange for taking a punt at something like this. It'd be nice to see more like this, and particularly more interwar sort of stuff. So there we go. That's the review for this. I'm going to try it one more time. No, I'm not. I'm not going to try it at all. 1661, this is pretty good. It's as accurate as I think you can get from the details, and it's nice to have something that's a little bit different and that you don't see around every day. So, hopefully you've liked this video. If you have, please like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you again. You take care. Bye bye.